What do you get when you cross a spooky anthology show, bad puns, and Jonathan Frakes? You get Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction, the classic late 90s and early 2000s show that lured viewers in with its unique interactive approach to its storytelling format.
5 stories, some real, some fake. Can you judge which are fact and which are fiction? To find out, you must enter a world of both truth and deception, a world that is beyond belief.
For this episode of the podcast, Coop, BP and I are going to analyse Season 2, Episode 12 of the show, which deals with stories regarding
a touch of evil.
Join us as we explore all the fun, cheesy, terrifying moments from this beloved show. You're watching the Complete Guide to Horror Movies podcast. Welcome back, fans and friends, to the Complete Guide to Horror Movies podcast. Today we are doing a very first special, I don't know, what you want to call an interactive episode. This time we are covering an episode of Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction. Now, this TV show was first aired in 1997 to 2002 on Fox in America, and the whole premise of the show is there are 5 short stories. Some are true, some are false, and it's up to you as a viewer to guess which ones are true and which are fiction. And for this episode, we're going to look at the Touch of Evil one that spotlights 5 different stories, all to do with some evil element. Woo! Now, with this episode, I remember seeing this way back in, I think 2004, maybe 2005. Weirdly, it was always on Foxtel back in the mid-2000s. Even though this show had finished in America and everywhere else by that time, Australia is always really slow. So Foxtel, I think it was on the W channel or FX channel or some random channel. Like, hey, let's put this anthology show on a channel for women. Yeah. Like, that's how Foxtel is. They're so behind the times with everything. And I got obsessed with this show mostly because I like the idea of watching 5 short horror things or 5 short psychological or just weird stories, things like that. I mean, I grew up on the Discovery Channel where it was like mostly true stories, urban legends revealed with Natasha Henstridge from Species.
And in many cases, they're victims of a strange fate. But in this story, it's the humans who get it in the end.
Even just general anthology like Tales from the Dark Side, Alfred Hitchcock's Presents, The Twilight Zone, of course. So this whole thing is right up my alley.
Apparently.
Now, before we get into the episode itself, we have linked the episode in the description for the one that we are reviewing. We encourage you as an audience to go check out that episode first. So pause this, check out that episode, come back and let us know which ones you actually got correct for which were fact and which were fiction. Now, BP and Coop, had either of you ever heard of this show before? BP, we'll start with you.
I think I had heard of it just in passing. Like, I know we sort of discussed it. To be honest, I was probably too pov to even get this when I was younger because it probably would have been like an All-Star Foxtel option. Yeah. And the only reason I sort of really only know about it now is because there's so many memes flying around of the host, things you'd ask your co-worker on like a boring day in retail. Like, that's really the extent of this show. Like, I've heard of it, but this is the first time I've sat down and actually watched an episode.
Nice. And I know the exact meme you're talking about because even we have shared our own version where it's him being like, you ever got mountain biking? What's the right tip? And it's just like questions at your, questions your neurodivergent friend asks you every day, or it's like,
me on a first date or something.
Yeah.
Are we just repeating an urban myth that never really happened? Or did we get the truth straight from the horse's mouth?
Jonathan Frakes, the host, I only know him from this show. I know he was very popular in a Star Trek series. I've never watched Star Trek, so I have no idea about that whole world to do with Jonathan Frakes or whatever.
What's wrong with you?
But he's such a perfect host for this TV show. His whole eccentric, over-the-top thing just matches this whole cheesy, lo-fi 90s TV aesthetic. So, yeah. Coop, what about yourself?
Yeah, I do remember it sort of vaguely from back in the day. I never had Ozstar or Foxtel either. So I think maybe I caught it at like in the afternoon at like friends' houses that had it.
Hmm.
But it's definitely in there because I remember when that meme showed up of the have you ever gone mountain biking or like and all that stuff. I was like, oh no, I remember this show. It's like in there somewhere in the back of my brain. Um, and yeah, Frakes is the perfect host for this because it is just so cheesy and over the top, um, and just kind of like low budge, but in like a charming way.
By the way, in deciding whether this story is true or false, you must rely on your own judgment. We offer no warranty.
It was fun to come back to this, but I'd never really, I don't think I even knew that that was the name of the show. I just remember the little snippets of him hosting and just being just the cheese master.
Is this mysterious tale fact or fiction? You make the choice. At your convenience.
This is something that has become a bit of a decade rewatch where I'll forget all the stories, come back and rewatch an episode or two, and then suddenly I've gone through all 4 seasons. And interestingly, there's an additional 2 seasons that were so complicated. Were filmed in Germany and in Los Angeles, but it's dubbed for German audiences, and they've never released an English language version of those 2 seasons that were filmed, despite the, I guess, the fan outcry for there to be more episodes of this. But yeah, wild, wild. And honestly, I've watched the German version. It is not that good.
Beware. We Germans aren't all smiles and sunshine. Ooh, the Germans are mad at me. I'm so scared. Ooh, the Germans.
Like, sorry, Germans, but no, it's so bad. Maybe that's why they didn't release it in an English version. Now, with this episode in particular, we'll go through each of the 5 stories. I'm going to say it up front. There was never an episode of this TV show where I got all 5 stories correct. I think the most I ever got was maybe 4 out of 5, but generally, I think I got mostly 2 out of 5 right or 3 out of 5 right. So, yeah, you can't win. And some of these stories, you're like, how the fuck is that true? Come on. Or like things that are obviously urban legends, they're like, this is true. I'm like, it's not true at all. It's an urban legend. It's been floating
Yeah.
around for like fucking 50 years. And we just did a whole franchise special on urban legends. Like, come on.
I
Can't
feel like
last.
sometimes you think like the whole oh it's actually true was because somebody knew claims to have known somebody who knew somebody that oh no he was there he saw it. I swear like that's where a lot of the truth comes from with this show. But yeah, oh well, bit of fun.
Oh, yeah. We'll go into the first story, which is titled Merry-Go-Round. So the whole premise of this story is that this couple decide to, I guess, rejig this merry-go-round. They get told that it's cursed or whatever. And then, just like in your background, BP, the husband is on the horse itself, and he says that the horse bit him. And as an audience member, we're led to think, did the horse come to life and bite the guy? What the fuck? Until it's revealed that it was actually a snake that had crawled into the horse's mouth itself, or something to that effect. Um, I'm sorry, this story was so stupid. I was laughing the entire time on this because I'm like, just get off the fucking merry-go-round. Like, just stop the thing. Come on, it's a merry-go-round. It's not like as if it's, I don't know, a roller coaster in Final Destination or something. And like they make it so dramatic and everything with like the choice of camera angles and everything. So yeah, I thought this was actually going to be fiction, and let me check my notes. I think this is actually fiction from memory. Yes, yes. So I was happy to guess that right. But BP, what about yourself? What did you think about this story, and did you guess that this was fiction?
I thought it was intriguing. I sort of went in, like, I ended up putting that it was true. The only reason, and then the reason why afterwards I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have, was because I remember merry-go-rounds with like the horses and whatever you call them, the sort of the statues generally don't have when they have a mouth, they generally don't have an open portion. I believe it's blocked out. So that was sort of my thinking, like, afterwards I'm like, oh yeah, they are blocked out. So I guess that sort of idea of a snake going in there isn't real. But yeah, I thought it was like intriguing enough, sort of, I guess, with the news crew and that sort of stuff. It was somewhat believable that something actually like this happened. But then, yeah, so I mean, I put true. I got that wrong. As a story though, like, I think it was like intriguing enough. I liked it. It was like carnivals. You can't say no to like a ride story like this. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Coop, what about yourself?
I thought it was an interesting story. I'm with BP. I actually put true for this one, and I misheard in the opening that I thought only one of these was true. So
Mm.
before the big reveal at the end, I was like, oh, out of all the stories, I feel like that one might have the most element of truth. Nothing to do with the curse or anything like that, but I feel like if you're going to store a merry-go-round and you would assume this is, 50, 60 years ago or whatever in some random warehouse, that it's not that unbelievable that a snake would
Yeah.
get cozy in one of these things and
Mm.
get bitten. So I
Mm,
thought that was where the element of truth was coming from, but I
Yeah.
was completely wrong. So yeah.
mm. Interesting, interesting. Things take a very weird turn for the second segment of this episode called
Mm.
Red-Eyed Creature. Now,
Mhm.
this is one of those segments in this entire show that is always debated upon. It is always referenced, talked about. For the mega fans of this series, they'll either tell you that it's this one that's their favorite or the one they most remember, or it's one in the first season called Kid in the Closet, which I'll just briefly mention that segment. So, Kid in the Closet deals with this kid who claims that there's a boogeyman in his cupboard or whatever, and his mum's trying to help him overcome his fear of the dark because she thinks that it's obviously a fear of the dark, not an actual monster in the closet or whatever. And in that segment, the his brother and the brother's friends all taunt him, and they say like, "Oh, the monster's coming to get me." So one of the friends goes into the cupboard, pretends he's being eaten by the monster or whatever, and then when they open the cupboard door, the kid's gone, but the clothes the kid was wearing is still in the cupboard. So the whole thing is like there was a monster in the cupboard the whole time and it ate one of the kids, and then that got presented as true. It's like how the fuck would that story be true? Like what the fuck? And there's
Mm.
never any explanation for any of it. They're just like at the end of the story, the host is like, "Is this story true? Yes, this happened in the Bermuda Triangle in the late
Mm.
1970s." And it's like, okay,
Mm.
cool. What else happened? Like,
Mhm.
I want to know more about how it's actually true. But going back to Red Eyed Creature, it's the exact same premise where in this story, it's about this kid who's terrified of the dark after moving into the new house. He sees glowing red eyes in the dark. Plot twist, the mum sees the glowing red eyes as well. And then it's established that apparently it's just the two blinking red lights that are on the wall where I guess the alarm is or whatever.
Mm.
And then the nanny, which, by the way, very rich family to have like a nanny or whatever,
Yeah.
she's the one at the end who shows that she was the one with the glowing red eyes the whole time. And it's so weird how they reveal it because she just smiles at the camera. It's just the
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, this one's obviously fiction. And then it turned out to be fact.
Yeah.
Like, no, no. I
Yeah.
said, I'm like, straight away, this has to be fiction. It's just a scary thing that they tried to, like, scare the viewer with.
Mm.
So yeah, the fact that it was fact, I got that wrong completely. I assumed it was fiction.
Mm.
What about yourself, BP? What did you think of that segment?
Yeah, out of the five that we're going to discuss, I think this was my least favorite, just because one thing that we'll probably talk about or someone might mention is some of these episodes go longer than others, and it's very hard to engage in a very short episode with a lot of things happening. And I feel like this one I couldn't really engage much and sort of, grow some sort of interest in the characters, really care about them. I put it like false because it just sounded so dumb.
Mm,
Um, I don't think it's true. I don't know where that's coming from. I think that's like, like considering the other episodes in this story. Um, yeah, I just didn't really think it was a great story, and or if it is believable, I just sort of was like, oh, it's the nanny, righto. I literally just sort of the security system, but it was a very short one. This was a shorter segment than the other ones. Yeah.
yeah. Can you imagine if it was Fran Drescher with glowing red eyes?
or the actual nanny. What's her name? What's her name? Joe.
Oh, Joe,
Oh,
Super
Super
Nanny.
Nanny.
Yeah.
That behavior is unacceptable.
I'm on my way. Yeah.
You guys are in a crisis. I'm on my way.
You didn't really have enough time to engage. I thought the the reenactments and stuff was like the worst of all the acting in this whole episode. The nanny, that bit where they're talking about how they find out from the real estate agent that someone had hung themselves in their house before. And she says this horrible line that's like, "Oh, if I may be so bold, but everybody should calm down." And I was like, "What the? Who the fuck talks like that?" If I may be so bold, calm the fuck down. Yeah, so stupid. And then just the end with the red eyes. It was like the end of a Goosebumps episode. I like literally like
Mm.
started laughing. It was so silly. And yeah, I thought it was fiction, and I still believe it's fiction.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
a lot of these episodes, they allegedly they had conducted first-hand research with an author called Robert Tralins, who wrote this book in the 70s or 80s called
Mm.
it was like Strange Wonders of the World or something. I can't remember the exact title,
Mm.
but that doesn't mean that what he wrote was legitimate. He could have easily made this shit up. I mean, like, yeah, I went on a travel somewhere to Maxville and I saw a bear with glowing green eyes and it was a ghost. Woo! And like just because
Mm,
he wrote it down doesn't mean that it's real.
Mm.
Like
mm,
so that's what frustrates me about this show. They never actually give any clear
Yeah.
primary resources or anything like that. Or pisses me off. The third segment, I can't actually remember it. I know it's called Used Car Salesman.
mhm.
The only thing I remember from this segment is that the guy at the end gets surrounded by all the cars. It looks like some weird, like vengeful Fast and Furious movie where it's like, no, they're gonna run him over. No, no, no.
Yeah.
So I actually put down fact for this one because of how ludicrous it was, and I remember
Mm,
thinking, well, if the red-eyed creature one is true, then all the others must be true as well. Why
Yeah.
not? And then it
Yeah.
turns out this one was fiction, which makes a lot of sense because why would there be ghost cars? Or
Mm.
even
Mm.
if it was, all the venged souls or previous people that not insurance, that the car salesman had ripped off. Like,
Mm.
why would they do all that shit?
Mm.
Anyway, I don't really remember this segment. BP, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, this one was probably my favorite one, mainly because it's cars, and it was a long enough. Well, I'm gonna love it.
I know.
It's a long enough episode that it was like interesting, and this does happen. Dodgy salesman, um, Wormwood Motors, Better Value Motors, all those places.
mm.
Um, and yeah, so I thought it was intriguing. And the other reason I actually said it was true because I know like these two movies, Herbie and Christine, I don't think Christine's based off a real story, but I thought, if Herbie can talk and move and Christine can do the same thing, then why can't this story be true? So I actually thought that, there could be some deaths in some car and some ghost thing could turn on a car as it's like, the car coming into the sales yard at the end. I'm like, I don't really think a ghost could do that. So I said yes. But yeah, I thought it was plausible out of
Yeah.
probably the three, maybe after the merry-go-round. Definitely not the red-eyed creature one. But yeah, this is my favorite one. And I got it wrong.
But it's just one of those things. Coop, what about yourself? What did you think of this segment?
Yeah, this one was pretty entertaining.
Mm.
Like BP said, there's dodgy car salesmen out there. We know
Mm.
they exist. I'm sure we've all experienced one before in our lives, so that's not that crazy. I couldn't stop laughing with the introduction for this one when Frakes was saying that you had to pay full price, but what if you needed half off? And then there was half a car on the film set. I fucking pissed myself. That was so good. Um, I put fiction again. I misheard at the start, so I'd already kind of like picked that I thought that snake story was real.
Mm.
But I thought that if it was to be true, then I did think that the three other salesmen just fudged their alibis and just drove an
Dodgy car.
extra car into him really
Yeah.
for the fourth car.
Mm.
But it was entertaining and it was nice to see the evil salesman get his comeuppance after essentially like killing a few people. So
Mm.
I did enjoy it, but I didn't think it was true.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fair. And to your point as well about Jonathan Frakes, I love when he does all the stupid puns. Like I swear that's where my
So
love
good.
of puns have come from.
Oh,
The half of. There's also some other ones where I'm trying to remember the other segments who talk about something to do with there was one focused on fake fake weather reports and he's there in like a raincoat and an upside down umbrella. And it's just the visual gag of it as well is just so perfect.
mm.
Like I would rather watch an episode of Jonathan Frakes do all this stuff rather than
Oh,
watch the
yeah.
actual segments.
Yeah.
Now we get to the fourth segment, which is surveillance camera. So in this one, we have a cashier or service store attendant, I don't know what you want to call him, who has his metal box stolen that contained $8,000. Turns out he gets robbed twice within a very short amount of time, only to find that the person who first stole his metal box or whatever was the previous store owner or store attendant who was also shot. So I thought weirdly this was kind of heartwarming in a sense that the previous person who had died had looked out for this person, but at the same time I could not get past the accent, and I still can't every time I rewatch this episode. Also, the big plot hole where he's like saying to the police everything, he's like, I do not know how I can't do the accent because I'm just gonna sound like every
Right, neither
race
could they.
mixed into
Just
one.
do a Bruno accent, yeah.
He's like, I don't know how they knew about the metal box. Meanwhile, he's counting out the money in the metal box in front of everyone. He
Yeah.
may as well have a Zoom recording set up so he can be like, I have $8,000 or whatever. And I'm like, well, maybe if you weren't so fucking obvious with his
Yeah.
metal box, you wouldn't have gotten it stolen.
Mm.
But I did think this was a nice little segment. So I did say that it was fact, and I was happy that I got that right. So far for me, that's 2 out of 5 correct.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not spooky by any means. It was kind of
No.
just like, oh, okay, he got robbed twice in one day, but he didn't get robbed because the person was protecting him from the metal box the whole time. Anyway, so BP, what did you think of this segment?
Yeah, well, I also got this right. This is my first one, so I was happy at least I got one right so far. Yeah, I could believe it. I mean, I side note, like I listen to like a lot of missing persons podcasts and stuff like that, and I can sort of, I don't know, like believe this story. Like it is a bit far fetched when you think about it. That it's like, is it all a dream? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Did he sleep on the counter and wake up and the box was there? Because it's so weird that the cops were there and he's like, and then the cop just brings the box out like Deal or No Deal and then opens it up. There's $8,000 in there, and it was just so weird. So yeah, I didn't mind the episode. It was a shorter one as well, and I couldn't really care for his backstory for his family in, I don't know, Slovakia or wherever he's from, Philippines, somewhere, Serbia.
I think it was Serbia, from memory.
Serbia. Yeah, so I got this right, so I was pretty happy. It is a weird one, and it's kind of cool they went through the footage and could see it all, and then you're like, hang on. But yeah, it sort of, I guess, leaves it up to the viewer to sort of interpret it if it's a dream or, I don't know, could just be good editing from the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Coop, what about yourself? What are your thoughts on this segment?
I didn't really care for it. I mean, like I said, I thought it was only one, and I've already tapped out. I'm wrong. None right for me. Or I didn't think it was true. I guess I liked that it was kind of, meant to be like a heartwarming story, but I was kind of like, we're talking about touch of evil here, not touch of good natured spirit. So I was like, come on, get on with it. But whatever. And of course, once again, like most cops we deal with, that they were just like, yeah, okay, whatever. We're gonna
go. We get to the last segment, which is called Graffiti, and maybe because we're not American, I just don't care for this segment. And I mean, so I'll be honest, I can't even remember the plot for this one. I rewatched this episode 4 days ago. I do not remember this segment apart from what happens at the end, where it's "Remember Pearl Harbor" spray painted on the car, and the whole thing being like, no, turns out it happened 2 days or 2 years or 2 months, whatever the time frame was, before actual Pearl Harbor, when the Japanese Navy Air Service or whatever it was ambushed the American naval base in Pearl Harbor. So everyone's making a big deal about it, but at the same time, it could just be a coincidence because Pearl Harbor existed and everything. So I don't know. I didn't really get what was supposed to be so shocking about this, and I mean, I know that this was also marked as fact, and I tried to look for this online a couple of days ago. Apparently, the time frame was actually that this happened 2 years before, not 2 days, as recorded in the show.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I got this right, but I was like, okay, well, that was just a guess. I don't really care for it. BP, what about yourself?
Yeah, well, I said it was false because it's just so, like, it's really just a principal grilling a student over some graffiti in the end, and I'm like, Don't really care. And anyone could say anything. I could say Sydney Harbour, you know, collapses over everything, and then 2 years' time it happens, and it's like, oh, BP broke the news.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just sounded like so dumb. I'm like, cool, like it's Pearl Harbor, like okay, but I couldn't really care for this episode. I think it was probably like the weakest out of the lot of them. Probably with Red Eyed Creature. But yeah, I said false just because I just thought it was a bit far fetched with like what sort of happened, and it was just kind of dumb. There's the kid getting grilled in the office, principal's office, but yeah, couldn't really care less.
And also, I just love the zoom that they do from where when the kid's getting grilled and everything, and it goes to the calendar date of December something 1941, and I'm like, is the calendar haunted? Like, why has it got such ominous music? And then they're like, it happened 2 days before the attack on Pearl Harbor. I'm like, oh, that's why it went to the date. I thought the calendar was gonna like fucking scream or something. So dumb. Coop, what about yourself? What did you think of Graffiti?
I knew what the big reveal was going to be. When they said it was 1941 and remember Pearl Harbor, I was like, well, I know the reveal is going to be that the Pearl Harbor attack hasn't happened yet, and it's going to be like, ooh. And I just kept laughing because the quote was "Remember Pearl Harbor," and I just Sopranos quote of Paulie being like, "Word to the wise, remember Pearl Harbor," and I just kept laughing about that. And like I've heard stories like this before, particularly around September 11. I've actually got one, funnily enough. My mum's friend, she was doing like an IT type course type thing, and they were learning how. This was like 20 years ago. They're learning how to use Paint Shop Pro. I don't know if you remember that
I
program.
remember that.
Yeah, and they had to put they had to do like a landscape and all this, that, and the other. And one of the people in the class did. Obviously, it would have been more than 20 years ago because that was after. Yeah, it was before September 11th. I know that much. And the landscape they were using was New York City, and they were adding like effects and stuff. And apparently, this friend of hers was like, she couldn't understand why, but she felt like she needed to put flames on the Twin Towers.
Ooh.
And then when it happened, she was like, "Ooh, yeah, whatever." But yeah, so I didn't do much for me just because I knew what the big reveal was going to be, and I was just laughing about Soprano quotes. And but I was tossing up between this and the snake one. I was like, it's one or the other, just because I've heard stories like that before about big tragedies and people sort of saying things that allude to them happening before they happen. But yeah, again, I was kind of already spoiled because 1941 Pearl Harbor, and then I was waiting for them to say something like, "Oh, what does it mean?" And that's exactly what they did. I was like, "Yeah, there we go." So yeah, it was a bit whatever for me, but yeah.
I was gonna say, Coop, did your mum also have a friend named Wendy who took a photo of the Twin Tower and it had the shadow of the plane over it? I'm like, please get the reference. Please get the reference.
I've seen it, yeah. Got the shadow. Fucking was it Final Destination 3? Look,
mandatory mention. Ding ding ding.
Ding ding ding.
It is. I love the whole thing to do with like premonitions or things that are unexplainable, I guess, before certain things happen. Like, I can honestly say that I've never had a premonition or anything like that, but I've had some weird shit happen which I can't explain. Like, I don't know if I've mentioned on this podcast, might have mentioned it on another one where, before my mum had actually crashed a car with all of us inside of it, I had this voice say to me, like, you need to put your seatbelt on. And full admittance, I was a complete idiot back in the day when I was like, I think I was 18 or 19 back then. And sometimes during long distance drives, I would take my seatbelt off. And I never do that ever since. But back in the day, I would always take my seatbelt off, go to sleep because I hated the restriction of the seatbelt. And I remember some, like, I don't know, intuition or something. Maybe it was my own conscience being like, hey, you're a fucking idiot, put your seatbelt on, you know? And then the car crashed. I still smashed my head against the windshield of the car we were driving. But I felt like if I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, that it would have been much, much worse for obvious reasons. Whereas now, I always wear a seatbelt no matter what. But it shouldn't have had to have been that, like, it could have been my own death is the reason why I wear a seatbelt now. Like, it should just be common knowledge. It's like crazy.
You were like Kim in Final Destination 2.
Yeah.
I should put my seatbelt on. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. What is it she says again? She's like, "Oh yeah, really responsible," and then she
Yeah,
puts her
and then
seatbelt
puts her
on.
seatbelt on. My God.
Crazy.
Mm.
Mm.
Now, tallying up the stories at the end of the show, it goes fiction, fact, fact. So there are actually three facts, and there were two
Mm.
fictional stories.
Mm.
Coop, I know you're at a disadvantage because, like you said, you misheard that you thought it was only one fact
Yeah.
instead of having a mixture. There's been some episodes of the show where it's been, pardon me, one fact and four fiction, or it's been one fiction and four pardon me, stories. The majority tend to be usually two fact and three fiction. I can't think of an episode where I actually got all of them right.
Mm.
Same with anybody that I made watch some of these episodes in the series. Um, and anyone claiming online, like, I always got the stories right. Bullshit. No, you fucking did. Don't lie. Like, it's one of those TV shows which are purposely confusing. It can go either way, so I'm not expecting anyone to get 100% on these.
Yeah.
To our listeners, tell us which ones you got right or wrong in the comments below, and also what you thought of these stories, because we've already given our thoughts on it. But I guess wrapping up this episode, does this make you want to watch more episodes in this series, or do you think it's a relic of the past? So, BP, I'll start with you.
If they did a revival, I probably would be interested. If it's just with what I've watched and what's already out there, probably not. Like I said earlier, I know these are what 40-minute, 50-minute episodes, but I think I'd prefer them just to really focus on maybe three and spend a bit more time crafting each episode. Just to engage the viewer a bit more, because like I said, some were long, some were short, and it was quite hard to just engage and actually legit sort of think these are true or false. So if it's with what's out there at the moment, I probably wouldn't watch anything else. It's also the other issue is it's because it's late 90s, 2000s, so it is already quite dated. And the acting's pretty like cheesy, as we've sort of discovered. And like the graphics and sort of stuff are also really cheesy. So it's not really something I would go back and sort of watch on a Friday night. But if there was some sort of revival where they sort of revamped it and maybe focused on three, and maybe did like a fact of fiction and I don't know, like an in-between sort of view, that'd be something I'd go for. But yeah, if it's what it is, probably not. But at the time I could appreciate why it was so popular, but it's just I never watched it, so it's sort of hard to go back and watch something that's like 25 years ago now.
Yeah, yeah. To me, it's like the same feeling as when we were in the 90s and someone would put on something from like the 60s or 70s, like the difference in quality.
Yeah.
Like now it's comparing standard definition to high definition or even 4K, 8K quality. Back then it would have been comparing like what 144p to like 480p.
Or color to black and white.
Yeah, yeah. Like, like it's just crazy the leaps in technology and everything. Coop, what are your thoughts? Does this make you want to watch this series, or do you think that it's kind of past its prime?
Now that I know that it's all on YouTube for all the same reasons that BP doesn't want to watch it, is exactly why I'm probably going to keep watching it, because it is so cheesy and so funny. And I need more Frakes one-liners and I need some more bad acting. So yeah, I think I'm gonna delve in. It's just something that if I don't know what I'm gonna watch, I'll chuck on an episode of this and have a bit of a laugh. So I think I'll be watching more episodes of this, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some really funny episodes of this TV show, and likewise some which are uh I think lost in 90s media literacy. There's one episode where it's about this woman who gets cursed. There's a lot of curses in this show, and she is cursed to think that she's ugly, so she consults a plastic surgeon, and the plastic surgeon is like, "We can't help you because we see you as like a normal looking woman." And then she holds up a mirror and she looks like I don't know what to, like ET.
I'm horrible. Why can't you help me?
Bulging eyes, everything. And the whole premise is like the whole thing is like, no, she's actually very beautiful on the outside, but she's so ugly on the inside that she's cursed to see herself as that.
Okay.
But then I see the plot hole as being like the plastic surgeon being like, no, you're too beautiful. Like, hell no, a plastic surgeon would be like, you're ugly, you need your lips done, you need your eyes done, you need nose, like forehead, skin lift, whatever. Like, the plastic surgery is not going to be like, no, you're beautiful.
Yeah, fuck no.
Same with some stories involving like ghosts, or it's like there's one where it's like a ghost caught on film, and then they go to check out the like an actual film camera where it's like the full reels and everything. And it turns out the person who filmed the ghost was strangled with the film, so they no longer have proof that this ghost exists. And it's just like, oh, come on. Like, what the fuck? Who writes this shit?
Of course, this is something we would never advocate. Fortunately, I have the tool to restore the damage.
It's giveaway time, and this week we are excited to announce that we are giving away a copy of Skinamarink on DVD. This very divisive horror film, also available on Shudder, follows a young boy who awakens to find that things around the house, including his family, start disappearing. To enter, all you have to do is let us know in the comments what your favourite segment is of Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. And it can be from any segment in the entire series across all 4 seasons, so let us know what your favourites are. Good luck. Winners will be announced in our next episode. So listeners, make sure you check the full series out on YouTube. Let us know in the comments. Also check out our TikTok, Instagram, etc., etc. And if you hated this episode...